And Illman might be our Grade 1 Stakes action at Belmont Park on Belmont Stakes Saturday is race number 3. It's the Grade 1 Acorn. 3-year-old filly's going a one-turn mile, and you've got a big name turning back in distance. It's Echo Zulu on the outside, and it looks like she's going to control the pace. This isn't going to be as easy as first thought, perhaps, because Mataray has gotten good.
Yeah, the two horses to the outside both come into this race in really good form. Echo Zulu does come into this off of her first career defeat. Man, did she run good in the Kentucky Oaks, though.
It was her first career defeat. You could argue it was one of her best races. Yeah. She went 1 1/8, and she's used to having her own way on the lead. Well, she didn't make the lead in the Kentucky Oaks. She pressed a very fast pace. She took over in the stretch, and she dug down deep and finished 4th. 1 1/8 is too far for her. With this outside post, she should control this race.
Yeah, we have to like her cutting back in distance for this. She's perfectly drawn on the outside. Listen, Mataray, her main rival here, comes into this race in great form. She also has speed. I still think Echo Zulu is faster.
Dreamlith, the number 1, is a graded stakes winner. She won the Goldenrod last year, going 2 turns at Churchill Downs. Maybe you can make the argument she's racing herself back into shape, but disappointing effort in the Rachel Alexandra. Disappointing effort in the Fantasy. Don't like that they tried her on turf in the Edgewood, and here she is.
Yeah, I don't like that either. This is going to be her first start around 1 turn since they ran her in the spinaway as a 2-year-old. She was no match for Echo Zulu that day, but she did get forced very wide in that race. I don't mind her cutting back for this race, Dan. You know, I wanted to look for reasons to like this horse at a price. It's pretty hard to make a case for. Diodoro, he does almost everything well. I don't usually look up stats for him. You look him up with his horses switching from turf to dirt. Typical good numbers, man. They win a lot. So I feel like the move is a good one. I just don't think this horse is good enough.
Todd Fletcher taking a shot with a maiden in a Grade 1. It's the number 2 Inventing. 2 starts, 2 runner-up efforts. Beautifully bred daughter of Union Rags. She's all upside. She's catching a tough spot. I would think if you asked Todd, he'd say we'd love to get a Grade 1 placing.
Yeah, that would probably be fine with them. It almost feels like they might have got hustled into this race. I doubt this was the spot that Todd had picked out for. She's run okay in her first 2 starts, but she hasn't done anything that's going to make her to make the 2 favorites quake in their boots.
Devine Huntress's big win came at Parks in a first-level allowance race. She won by the length of the stretch that day, and there were some high hopes that she could take the next step for Graham Motion up into the graded stakes ranks. And while she's improved incrementally, her 5th or 4th in the Black-Eyed Susan with a pretty good trip, it doesn't make me want to line up to bet her against Echo Zulu.
No, I'm with you. I mean, listen, to me, if I was going to take a shot against the 2 favorites in this race, I would do it with Devine Huntress, but I just don't really feel like that's the way to play this race. I actually like her cutting back a little bit for this. Her last 2 races are fine. I don't get the feeling from her that she wants to go longer distances. Listen, her 2 wins so far, they're both at Parks against way weaker. She was pretty impressive winning both of those races. I think she does have some talent.
I think she has talent. She was very visually impressive. I do agree with the turn back. And if you want to try to make an excuse for the Black-Eyed Susan, just speed seemed to hold well that entire weekend, Preakness weekend at Pimlico. Mataray is up next. She's been a revelation for trainer Brad Cox. She's won her last 3 races. I wasn't a believer. She blew them away in the Beaumont. I became a believer. She got a beautiful ride from Pratt in the 8 Bells. She tracked the pace in the pocket. She got to the outside. But that horse on the lead, Norm Cassie had Pretty Birdie ready. Pretty Birdie fought. Mataray was better.
She was better. Pretty Birdie did go a pretty fast pace in that race, but it's not like Mataray was way off of it. They took her to the rail. They moved right up behind that horse. And you're right, they were just better in there. That was another good performance from her. Her last 2 races, Dan, she did it without the lead, and she was impressive both times.
Echo Zulu, the expected pace. She's certainly the class of this race. She's the 2-year-old filly champion of 2021. She won the Fairground Oaks on her seasonal reappearance. She won it in life and death fashion. She ran so well in the Kentucky Oaks. Now, her figs are, not as what they were as a 2-year-old, but getting back to the 1-turn mile, I think, is what she wants.
I think cutting back helps her. Obviously, they found a pretty good spot for her here regardless, just not facing a stellar cast of 3-year-old fillies here. And I know her figures aren't stacking up so far as a 3-year-old. I think she ran really well in both of those starts so far this year. I love her cutting back, and I still believe that she's a top racehorse.
Before we get to our top pick, please subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Lots of great content for Belmont Stakes weekend on DRFTV. Top pick time, you're not trying to beat her, are you?
There's nowhere to go in this race. You either probably take the 4 or the 5. I'm taking the 5.
I'm going to go with Echo Zulu as well. I think the turn back is what she wants, and I'd like to see her put up a good performance. I'm becoming a fan of the Steve Asmussen-trained champion. Echo Zulu in the Acorn. We'll see if Mataray has what it takes to take her down.
Master horse racing with Daily Racing Forms Formulator. Now free for DRF Bets members. Sign up to get the best bonus in racing with a $250 deposit match, plus a $10 free bet and free Formulator past performances. Go to drf.com/bet to play like a pro today.